Home and away NRL style continues with Mitchell Pearce announcing that he will be joining the Newcastle Knights on a $46.3 billion deal for the next 10 years. Now, Will, you were obviously championing that he was going to go there. I actually think it's a pretty good deal for both parties.
No, I think it's amazing. I think Pearcey's made the right decision. I said that a couple of weeks ago. Just being in Newcastle is a lot different. Being from Newcastle is a lot different. And knowing how they treat their own is a lot different.
You're very different.
Very different, mate. But I mean, like with Pearcey, I think he was over the bubble that gets created when you do live in Sydney. Everything he did was magnified by 100, compared.
Especially at a club like the Roosters.
I mean, he can admittedly, he's always been accountable for what he's done. He has stuffed up off the field and he's always been the first to go, you know what? I'm sorry. And it's only been a detriment to himself.
Yeah.
He's not hurting other people.
No, that's right.
He's stuffed up and he says sorry and that's it. And that's all you can judge him by. He's man enough to come out and go, I'm sorry, try and learn. And he has done that. And I think as a 28, 29-year-old man, Newcastle being a club that's going forward and forward and forward, I think it's a perfect fit. There's these young kids there that are just willing and they love Pearcey. Like Kalen Ponga, you've got, Sione Matau-Tita, and a couple of boys like Skiddy and a couple of guys from Guerrera. All these guys, they've all been a part of the Roosters squad, and they all look up to him so much. So I think it's one of the best moves of the year. I think he's going to go down as the buy of the year.
Oh, for sure. And I think that one thing with him, not only is the pressure of expectation off him a little bit. I mean, there's expectation, but the expectation is, will the Knights make the 8?
Yeah.
Not will the Roosters win the comp. And I think that's going to be really good for his mental state.
Yeah, I just think at this stage in his career, he's played 240 first grade games. He's 28, 29 years old. He's played 20 Origins. So he's played a hell of a lot of football. And Newcastle has been searching out for a number 7 since Andrew Johns has retired. And I think this is going to be, Danny Badiris said, it's the best buy since Ben Kennedy.
Yeah.
And me in 2012.
I don't know if they mentioned you in that, but look,
they just rubbed that out.
One thing that I really liked is that Mitchell Pearce. A lot of people, as you would know, have bonus clauses written into their contract. So if you achieve individually, Mitchell Pearce has had written into his contract team-based bonuses.
Yeah.
So he'll get paid more if they make the 8 or the top 4, and if they win the comp, he gets probably. He gets given the city.
He gets given He gets given Toronto West.
He gets Merriweather. Yeah, but you don't want Toronto West. But yeah, look, I think that's a really nice way for Mitchell Pearce to do it because his financial success rests on the team, and that's
his base contract is fair and it's well deserved.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a look at the market. You got some players that aren't rep players, haven't played as many games, is not a good a player as he is, and they're on nearly $1 million.
Yeah.
So he deserves every single cent he gets.
For sure.
And I think that Cronulla were chasing him, Manly were chasing him. I just think I don't think he wanted to play second fiddle to Cherry Evans.
Yeah.
He'll suit Newcastle, and I think with Newcastle and the fans and everything like that, they just love a player who rips in all the time.
Yeah.
And he suits that down to a T. There's not a game. I mean, like this is what I say all the time. They're always smashing Pearcey about his Origin letdowns, but they don't understand what the hell's been happening in the last 10 or 12 years when we've been smashed.
Queensland side.
It's not a bad Queensland side, is it? So his efforts, club level, have been outstanding. Out of if you win or loss, he's always in the top 3 or 4 players on both sides. So that's all Newcastle want from him. They want direction. They just want a person who's going to lead that side. And I think he's going to be a little bit of the Pied Piper up there. I think he could. I think
they'll get some signings now.
They'll get some signings now.
He's the first piece of that puzzle.
I hear rumblings. There's a couple of big boys that aren't happy at some clubs down here. So they've still got $1 million to spend in the cap. You can get a really good outside back because I don't really trust the Newcastle Knights outside backs at the moment. I think they're decent first graders. They need a real classy outside back.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got Tautau Moga, who's going to be a gun right centre, but I think they just need. You're probably going to push Sione Matau-Tia back into the centres as well, but they're wingers. They need some good wingers. So a person who can probably play. Connor Watson's probably going to play. I'm not sure, maybe 5'8". They're getting Brock Lamb. They've got a lot of pieces to move around, but they'll sort that out. That's what the coaches for. That's what coaches do. But I think he's going to be their best buy for ages, and I just wish him all the luck. I've spoke to him about Newcastle and how the people are, and they'll rally around him.
Oh,
they'll love him. They will love him. So I think it's going to be exciting. You know, it's made Newcastle come up. You know, I think in his head he was going, you know what, the Roosters are already built, Cronulla's built, Manly's built. I want to go to a club where it's a challenge, where the club's on me. I'm going to put the club on my back. You know what I mean? So I think he wants that. He wants that
responsibility.
He wants that responsibility, and for him to do that, to go out of his comfort zone, and to go to a place like Newcastle, 3 wooden spoons in a row, Ian, and he's going to go there. I know they're bought well. Doesn't mean they're going to play well, and if they don't play well, it's all on his shoulders.
The other big move is obviously the human headline, Jarryd Hayne. Now, he has officially asked for release from the Titans.
Yeah.
The Eels have signed him. There's a little bit of a stink around the fact that they reckon he's taking about a $700,000 haircut to sign with Parramatta, and whether or not the NRL should register that contract for the simple fact that if he's worth 1.2, are they registering a player? But obviously there's extenuating circumstances around that. He wants to be closer to his family, and you can understand
he's comfortable at Parramatta.
Yeah.
He's been there since he was 13 years old. You know, I mean, people are always quick to get on Hayne's back. You know, they always just hammer him, going, oh, he's this and that. He leaves Parramatta to go chase a dream. He ends up catching that dream, you know, and then he comes back. He wanted to come back to Parramatta.
He made that
They promised him a contract. Trust me. They promised him this, and then all of a sudden left him in limbo.
Yeah.
So what's he supposed to do? You know, he signs for the Titans. The Titans offer him 1.2 mil or whatever they wanted to offer him. So he accepts that. You know, he hasn't played the league for, 18 months. He comes back there, plays some decent football. This year, gets played out of position every single fucking week.
Yeah.
And with a player like Haynes, you just don't do that to him. You know, he obviously players weren't getting along with the coach. But all of a sudden, Haynes is the player that everyone is blaming on.
Yeah.
But I know about 6 or 7 of them young kids and even senior players weren't getting along with the coach. But because Hainsey is a lot more powerful, and he's got the head that everybody knows. Nobody knows anybody up on the Gold Coast, but everybody knows Jarryd Hayne. It's been their biggest signing. They had marketing and sponsors coming in. He made the club millions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think they weren't pleased with the whole thing, which they shouldn't be. And Neil Henry should not be happy as well, because it's cost him his job. But you can't. I know King. Neil Henry, like he's a really good guy, and he would not be going, it's Jarryd Hayne's fault. He would understand it takes more than one person to get rid of a coach. It's about 6 or 7 of the players. So he would understand that, and now Haynes' cost is $700K he's leaving behind to go play back for Parramatta. So the fans and all the ex-players should be happy. Some of the ex-players should just shut up and just be happy with him coming back to the club.
Yeah.
And they go, what Hayne are we going to get? This and that. Like you'll get a Jarryd Hayne who's going to come back there and probably be one of the best players every single week.
You know what I mean? At fullback?
I think they should play him at fullback. I think they should play Gutherson. He's a bit of a he's
a good footballer.
Good footballer. He's a really good footballer. But I think he can play centre. He can play 5'8". He can mess around with the side a little bit, And Bevan French might have to miss out, or he might have to play on the wing because Semi Radradra's gone. Like. Put Hainsey on. Hainsey can move everywhere, but for him to play his best football, he needs to be comfortable, he needs to be happy, and the happiest place he's been at is Parramatta.
Yeah.
And he has been outstanding for them. He's been one of their best players in the last 10 years. He is the prodigal son, and he's returning right now, and I think he wants to live up to that. He's not going to go there and just think that... he signed a 1-year deal, man. Signed a 1-year deal. Yeah. He could be signed a 3-year deal. Yeah. He signed a 3-year deal with the Titans. He signed a 1-year deal. That is a big fucking move. You know what I mean? You can't just go, oh, yeah, I'm just going to sign I could easily sign a 2 or 3 year deal with some other club. 1-year deal, he's backing himself. So Hainsey knows this 1 year could cost him. He could get injured in the first 10 games, do an ACL. He might be on the scrap heap.
Yeah.
People might take chances at him, but he ain't going to get that $1 million contract.
No.
He's 30 years old, so there's a lot riding on what he's doing and the move that he's made to Parramatta. So people should respect what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's put himself out there, and all you hear is this hate from other people, from ex-players, from this and that. It's like, dude, you don't even do that. you just let him go. You know what I mean? Like he's been one of your best players. He's been the NRL's superstar for the last 10 years. You know, just let him be.
The rank and file Parramatta supporters will be happy to see him back, but I just hope everyone stops moving the clubs because my head hurts. I can't keep up with it anymore. It's just too much.
It is. I mean, at the moment now, like loyalty doesn't mean shit in the game.
No.
So you just expect these moves all the time. There's probably going to be another 4 or 5 big moves before we start talking about round 1.
Yeah.
You know, and Hayne ain't going to be the last of them.
Well, it gives us something to talk about, mate.
Yeah.